Okay, this is AcropoliX tips and tricks. My second try at this. This is going to be a lot shorter than my first attempt. You already covered a lot of the stuff that I was going to talk about in your video that you posted this morning, so I'll try to keep this brief. So a couple of things that you wanted help with were the first cube, the UFO, and then the wave. I think are the things that I noticed you could be doing some things differently, and maybe that would help. If this is just my way of doing it, if you like your way better, that's perfectly fine. This is just another option to consider. So hopefully it helps. Maybe it doesn't. But anyway, so for this first cube, once you get up to this section here, the first part of it is just really hard. There's really no way around it. You've just got to get the timings in your head. But this part right here, there were some timings that you said you were struggling with. And there's much easier ways to do them. So the second half of this first cube, there's kind of two ways of doing it. There's the legit way, which you were doing in your video, and then there's kind of the cheesy way of doing it. So here's the legit way. Yeah, you got to make that timing. That timing's really hard. Up. You got to hit that blue orb also. You gotta make that timing there. So that's the legit way of doing it. But you can cheese a few of those jumps, and here's how you can do that. So this first jump here, you can just fall. You hit the blue orb very lightly, you just fall onto the ground, and then just jump into this area with the blue jump pad like that. And then you also can just go along the ceiling here. You don't even have to go down to where this green jump ring is. All you have to do is just slide along the ceiling and then jump like that and land on the ceiling like this. You can't jump too late or you'll hit the mini portal first, and you can't jump too early or you'll hit that ball of spikes there, right here. But if you time it just right, and it's not that hard of a timing to be honest, you can skip that whole area. So, and you can do this, jump here, and then you can buffer that green jump ring as well and hold, and then you fall into this ledge and then jump up here. So it's really convenient. You don't have to do that green orb timing either. So once more, I'll just do it from the beginning, like this. Whoops, no. So that's a much easier way of doing it. You're kind of cheesing it. If you just want to do it the legit way, just because it's more satisfying, go right ahead. But that's just something to consider. What else? The ball section, you pretty much nailed it. There's just a couple of timings. I don't notice, actually, after you're hitting this yellow jump ring, you don't have to wait until the ball is right here and then click. It's not a timing or anything. You can just hit the yellow orb and then buffer. This is probably the most difficult timing in that part. You have to hit the green jump ring right in the middle. And then also this, you're going to be tempted to try to hit this really late, but what'll happen is you'll hit this blue orb, you'll go up, and then you won't be able to drop down in time before you hit this spike right there. So you do want to go a little bit earlier, like halfway between, like when your ball is around like here. But you seem to get that pretty easily. Also, actually, I should mention, let me just put, what would be a good place to, shoot, let me just force my way through and practice real quick. Yeah, so that timing you can't. Yeah, this timing's pretty difficult as well. Yeah, see, that's what even that was too late. You have to go really early to avoid hitting the spike up there on the top. So you can time the blue orb like that and land in this area. If you time it too early, then you will fall into the spikes. Like this. Can I do it, please? Like that. But if you hit it early enough, I don't know if you can buffer it. No, you can't buffer it, but you can hit it early enough and fall off of this ledge. If you think that's an easier timing than the one you're normally supposed to do, have at it. There's just one thing I noticed while I was playing it. You can do it either way. And then I like to hit the ball in extra time here, because I like flying up from the floor rather than dipping down from the ceiling. You didn't seem to be struggling at this ship, surprisingly, so I think it's the hardest part of the level. You said it was one of the most chill parts in the level, so, I mean, I'm not going to try and give you any tips on that. If you like dipping down like that, that's perfectly acceptable. That's what most people do, it looks like. But anyway, it's, I guess if you're on 240 hertz, that's probably the difference, because it's really not, this straight fly is not that bad. You just got to hit this yellow orb in the middle, because if you hit it too late, you'll hit the portal and then hit this spike. This flying section, and then this straight fly at the end. I guess it's not that bad now that I think about it. This robot also, you seem to have figured it out. I couldn't tell if you were buffering this green jump ring, but that's a thing that you can do, which may be helpful. This one, if you buffer it, it sometimes works, but doesn't always, so I wouldn't. But and this part looks hard, but really it syncs to the music. It's not that bad. This ship also is pretty easy. You weren't struggling with that as well. Or you weren't struggling with that either. I know how to speak English. This part, actually, I should mention the transition into the UFO. What I like to do here is, or at least I find this really helpful, is as you're straight flying, what I want to try to avoid doing is, I don't want to fall like that. I don't want to hit the portal and then fall. What I like to do is go low enough through the portal so that you see how you slide off of that ledge right there? I like that because it provides sort of like a reset point, like it's the same every time, as opposed to just like flying like this and then falling. There's more variance there, so I like doing that personally. Of course, you don't have to. Whoops. Whoops. Okay, hold on. This UFO also, there's a couple other things. So this timing, as you've noticed, is pretty difficult. You're always going to be tempted to jump a little earlier, like that. You'll hit the spike though. So once you jump here, you go 1, 2, and then as you're jumping here, a lot of people jump 3 times here. And if you do that, you go like 1, 2, 3, and as the mini, you just barely get over the spike, and that works. But there is a risk, which is if you bonk your head either on your second or your third jump, like on the ceiling, what'll happen is you'll just hit the ceiling and then you'll fall into the spike. So what I like to do is actually jump 4 times there. So even if you do bonk, you'll get over the spike. And if you don't bonk, you just hit the ceiling anyway, where there's nothing to kill you. So there's no risk. So like this. So 1, come on. 1, 2, 1, 2, come on. 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. This timing is hard. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that time it didn't end up mattering because I didn't bonk on the ceiling at all. But it very well could have. Let me see if I can show you an example of that. That didn't matter. No. Yeah, see, like there. I would have, if I had just hit the button 3 times, I would have fallen into the spike because I bonked on my second jump, I think it was. So that can be helpful for you. Of course, again, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do any of this. This is just a guide that you don't have to use. But so you jump here. This pink jump ring, you want to make sure don't space them evenly. You don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, because what'll happen is he'll hit this spike here. You want to go to kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. The 3 and the 4 need to be close together. It didn't seem like you were having any problems with that either. And then this ball here. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I just wanted to point out one thing. This jump here, you can actually just cheese it like this if you just go along the ceiling. Come on. So that's a little bit easier. I mean, it's not like the original timing is that hard to begin with, but it's one less thing you have to worry about. And then so for the wave, there's kind of 2 ways of doing it again. There's like the spammy way, and then there's the finesse way. And the spammy way, in my opinion, it's worse because, you know, when you're really nervous, you're getting far in a level, it's harder to spam, you know, you're sweating all over your mouse or whatever. So you could theoretically just kind of force your way through like that. But there's a really consistent pattern that I like using, and it's kind of tricky to learn, but once you get it in your muscle memory, it's like basically automatic. So you just go like this. So jump 1, 2, come on. Jump 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And that works really well because it kind of like contours with the, or that's not the right word. It just matches up really well with the way the spikes are arranged on the ceiling and the floor. I'll do it again. So boom, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So I found that to be the most consistent way of doing that first section. And then here again, you go 1, 1, 2, 3. It looks like that's what you were doing already, so you figured that out. and then again, you can just kind of... You could do it that way. Or, I find this better, is not that. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. That's the click pattern I like to use there. If you want to try something else, have at it. This is just my sort of suggestion. I find that really consistent. It kind of lines up with the spikes in the ceiling. This part again, there's basically two ways of doing it. You can just force your way through. You can do that, and that works in practice, but you're going to be nervous, and so, you know, just beware of that. I like to go 1, 2, 3, 1. It's 1, 2, 3. Dun, 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 dun. So you notice you hold that, well, I let go a little bit late there, but you notice you hold the middle one a bit longer because you have to go up into the yellow portal and then down again. So it's like that, almost. If you could hear that, I'm not sure you could. I'll do it again. So, like that is kind of what I'm looking to do anyway. And then, oh, speaking of which, this part here, so you sometimes do hit, this blue portal on the way up, but you don't always. At least on 60 hertz. I think it's 1 frame timing on 60 hertz where you don't, so maybe it's, so like if you go like, come on. Oh, that time it did it again. Like that time it didn't work. You hit the spike at the top here. So what I like to do is just, in case, you do a tiny little micro click here. So there's a bunch of ways you can do this section, by the way. So what most people do, I mean, you can just kind of like, it's not really that tight. This first part is the big wave, is not that tight. So you can just kind of like feel your way through, and then you can either just spam at the mini wave, which is what I recommend because the mini wave is really unpredictable. Or you can just kind of decide, like, I'm going to click 4 times, or I'm going to click 5 times, whatever you want to do there. So like that. And then this last section, this is maybe one of the hardest parts of the level. And it took me forever to come up with a consistent strategy for this. And again, you can spam, but it's really dangerous, especially here of all places, because of all the gravity portals. It kind of messes with that. It kind of offsets your vertical position. So like, say you're spamming here is the upside down wave. You're spamming, you hold, you're like, it's a consistent, like, you're holding for exactly as long as you're releasing, but you can still die, because, like, let's say you're holding into the blue portal, you release, you continue going down, like, because with normal gravity, and you crash into the spike here. So you can definitely spam and just, like, pray that you get through. I died there on purpose because I don't want to have to reset the practice mode. So you can do that. That's one way of doing it. But the way that I've found works the best is, again, you kind of go along with, like, the way that the spikes are arranged. So, like, here. So I fall into this mini wave portal. Then I fall up here and go 1, 2, and then a small click. And I fall into the blue portal and I go 1, 2, small click. I fall into the yellow portal and go 1, 2. And you'll see what I mean. Let me see if I can do it here. So, almost got it. Whoops. So that is the most consistent way I've found to do that last part. You can see that it kind of lines up with the spikes on, like, here. Like, you go like this, and then as the regular wave, you go up and down through here. So it's kind of, it does help, I think. You have a lot more room than you think you do with that way, because the spikes aren't in areas where you're normally going to be going anyway. So I found that helpful. You can definitely spam there. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. It's all really a matter of preference, but that's just something that. So this whole video, let me go ahead and actually just do a full run here. Whoops. So that is the most consistent way I've found to do all the sections in this level. If I didn't mention something in the video, you were probably doing it right to begin with. So, but this is just another way of looking at some of the places that I noticed you were struggling. So hopefully it helps. Maybe it doesn't. But anyway, good luck with beating this level. And maybe I can beat it before you. Probably not. I already have like 30,000 attempts on it, so it wouldn't really be fair even if I did. But anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Bye.